Got it, yeah. Correct. Yeah, true, inshallah. Yes, so.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, it doesn't give it the option of starting the recording. It doesn't give it the option of, you made the host, right? Co-host.
Yes, and we can see your screen.
Yeah, can you see start recording? It doesn't give me the option of recording.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and we can see your screen.
Doesn't give me the option of starting the recording.
Maybe you have to start recording before I went live.
Before, sorry?
Before we went live on YouTube?
No, not necessarily, no. Okay, sorry. I got it, yeah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Assalamu alaikum جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much for joining us for session 4 of this session on Dua al-Nudbah of this course, for session 4 of this course on Dua al-Nudbah. Last week we completed discussion about Nabi Musa and Nabi Harun. Quickly, let us look at Nabi Isa and then, of course, get to the Prophet now. So, in fact, in this dua we recite, وَبَعْضٌ أَوْلَدْتَهُ مِنْ غَيْرِ أَبٍ وَأَتَيْتُهُ الْبَيِّنَاتُ وَجَدْتُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. We discussed this thing in detail last week, so I won't repeat myself. But as we said, that Imam Sadiq says the Spirit is one of God's creatures. It is a source of aid, reinforcement, and strength that Allah places in the hearts of His messengers and the believers. So we close our discussion by emphasizing that this Ruhul Qudus, which was given to Nabi Isa, and also in Dua Iftatah, we recite that even the 12th Imam is going to receive that Ruhul Qudus, a special aids, but it is also given to the believers. So when we as believers raise our standard, inshallah, that kind of spirit, that Ruhul Qudus, that strength will also come to us. Always try to have faith in Allah and continue just just following, just try to lead the life with piety and taqwa. Inshallah, we will also receive the aid. Now we come to role of all the prophets. Having mentioned the few prophets that we said, Adam, Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, Harun, right? Now, before coming to Prophet Muhammad, there is a discussion about the role of all the prophets. وَكُلٌّ شَرَعَتَ لَهُ شَرِيَةً. For each of your prophets, kullun, you can say, you ordain a code of law and a path and chose successor. And you can see not only that, وَتَخَيَّرَ لَهُ أَوْسِيَا. So Prophet had a number of successors, not only one, but number of successors, right? وَتَخَيَّرَ لَهُ أَوْسِيَا. مُسْتَحْفِظًا بَعْدَ مُسْتَحْفِظًا. One after the other, right? From one prophet's time to another. You did all this. Why? Why did Allah send this prophet? Now, beautifully, and this is the beauty of this dua. This dua is actually a complete discussion about our beliefs, about the prophets, about our creed, right? So, subhanAllah, you can see that now it comes that you did all this to uphold your religion, to seal your case against your creatures, and to ensure, right, that the truth does lose its status such that falsehood overpowers even those who seek truth. So you can see Allah wanted to just ikamatan lidinak, uphold the religion of Allah, hujjatan ala ibadika, and an argument, right, a seal against your creatures. That means creatures, ibadat was a kind of know that they will have kind of hujjat, that these prophets will come and lead them. وَلِأَلَّا يَزُولُ الْحَقُّ وَالْمُنكَرُ. And most important, the truth does not lose its status. The haqq, that means the truth has to stay there, right? وَيَغْلِبُ الْبَاطِلُ عَلَى. And then, of course, the false should not, would overpower people of truth. And that is why the prophets came, right? And after prophets, the Awsiya came. There's an ayat of Quran which talks about this thing. It says now, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لكل جعلنا منكم شرعة ومنهاجا. For each community among you, he had appointed a code of law and a path. And had Allah wished, he would have made you one community. But his purpose required that you should test you in respect of what he has given you. So you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given different kind of minhaj and code of law for different communities to see that how they act, And this is a trial, right? So take the lead in all good works. You can see this is it. Clearly, we have been told that fastabiqul khairat. Always try to do istika, try to do, just take a lead. Al khairat. Because why? Allah shall be returned to all of us. We'll go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whereat He will inform concerning that which you should use to defer, right? I keep getting cut off here. I'm surprised why you're getting cut off. I saw that I don't think there is anything here because we can continue with this. Perhaps there is a problem of internet there, but should be fine, inshallah. Okay. Then after that we are told, now that Allah has sent all these prophets with a specific role, we read in this dua that, and you did all this, so nobody would say, why did you not send us a messenger to warn us or light to beacon to guide us, that we could follow the commandments in the verses of your books, so that we should not have any kind of argument. Clearly you can see that no, why did you not send us a messenger to warn us, or light, a beacon to guide us, so that we could follow the commandments in the verses of your books before living the light of wretchedness and being destroyed in disgrace? You can see. So if we do not follow the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what happens? That we'll find that there will be wretchedness and disgrace. Not following truthful will make us just try to lead a life of disgrace and of wretchedness. And you can see now, right, people who have gone very far to the extreme, what kind of life they are leading, clearly. And then, of course, after doing all these things, now before coming to the Prophet Muhammad, the sentence says, Ila intahita bil amri, ila habibika wa najibika, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Until you ended the affair of the prophethood by entrusting it to your Lord. That means all the prophets, 124,000, one after the other came. Now that silsila of prophethood ended. It just ended by now sending the last of the prophet, who was your chosen, Habibika, right? Was chosen. And of course, may Allah shower him and his family. So now we come to discussion of Prophet Muhammad and his now. But before that, let's discuss about the Prophet himself. The dua is telling us about the status of the Prophet, right? He says, Ila intahita bil amri ila habibika wa najibika Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? You continue to send prophets and chose successor until after, right? And this is, we are told what? It was no wonder that he was the one, for he became just as you had wished he would when you chose him, right? So you can see the Prophet, right? He became just as you had wished he would when you chose him, the leader of all of you creatures, Sayyida man khalaqta, right? That he is the Sayyid of all who created. So Prophet is a leader of everything which is created. He's not only prophet of Muslims or of the Arabs. He was the prophet, the leader of all the creatures. And not only that, after we are told, and then of course, among the elite of those who elected, the best of those whom you chose, the noblest of those whom you brought into your service. You raised him above your other prophets. You sent him to the two precious races of human jinn from among your rational creatures and gave him mandate over the East and the West. Now, subhanAllah, you can see the universality of the Prophet is being discussed, right? That he sent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet to all the creatures and to the East and the West. And then, of course, Basta is a Sakalain. Sakalain here, of course, refers to the jinn and the ins. Why are they called jinn, precious, Sakalain? Because Allah has given them the ability to not act, free will, right? The jinn and the human beings can decide to act freely and not follow the religion. But there are people who are using their intelligence and rationale to continue to follow the religion and the truth. So Allah has called them as Sakalain. Now, because of their ability that despite being free, they decided to follow the truth, right? Not only that, of course, and you gave the mandate over the East and the West. Prophet has the mandate over the East and the West. And this talks about the universality about Islam. Sometimes we say that, oh, we are living in the West, we are in Canada, it's so difficult to follow Islam. That is not the case, right? The case is that no, Islam is universal. Yes, it becomes challenging, there is no doubt in it, but then you have to learn to adjust to that thing, right? But we'll continue, because if you see what we are going through extreme times here, for example, early Fajr, right? Compare with people who are in Sweden or other places, the time is even earlier. There are people who fast for such a long day, and their iftar time and fajr time is so short, subhanallah. But there are people who do it because they're committed, right? So, because Prophet was sent as a universal prophet, right? So this is, we can see that he was over all the prophets. Clearly says no, that that not you sent him above all the prophets, right? Al-Anbiya. Now we come to the Prophet himself. Status of the Prophet himself. You placed the Burak at his service, a special horse which took Rasulullah all the way to the heavens, and then you raised him up to the heavens. You entrusted him with the knowledge of what was and what shall be until the end of the creation. Subhanallah. Not only that, or just the that Arajta, that became Arajta, the word Mi'raj comes from the same word, Arajta. Now there's a lot of discussion about this rule. That did Prophet go to the heavens only through spirits or in body? But we won't get into it. What we know that as far as the Shias are concerned, we believe that Prophet went with his body, which includes his ruh, his spirit. Some Sunnis believe that Prophet just went, his spirit went, his body was there. But we won't get into this discussion, this thing, because of the word ruh, right? But then we say, وَوْدَعْتَهُ ilma, and subhanallah. And then we are told, entrusted him with the knowledge of what was and what shall be until the end of the creation. You can see, وَمَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا الْكِذَارِ. So this is it, مَا كَانَ وَمَا يَكُونُ, what of the past and also of the future. And that is why when Prophet had prophesied certain things, we believe that this is true because Allah had given that knowledge. That knowledge was there given to the Prophet. That what was in the past also he knew about it and what was going to come, right? And then you surrounded him with Jibreel, Mikael, and of course, not only Jibreel, Mikael, but we also told, al-Musawwimina min Maklaim, and those marked riders among your angels, special angels. You promised to make his religion prevail on all other religions, subhanallah. وَأَتَوْا أَن تُزْرَ دِينُهُ دِينًا عَلَى كُلِّ الدِّينِ. وَلَوْ كَانَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ, subhanallah. And this will happen, that in spite of all the challenges and all the oppositions and everything what the enemy is trying, Allah has promised, this is there in Quran, number of verses, right? So the Saf is there, we've been told that this religion is going to prevail over all other religions. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ. And this is interesting because if you see the condition of Muslims, see what is happening in Sudan, what is happening in Pakistan, right? What is happening, for example, in Somalia, there's fighting between themselves. What is happening in Nigeria? These are Muslim countries. So maybe some people would say that Islam is not going to prevail. Yes, we are going through all these challenges, unfortunately, on account of our leaders You can see what's happening in Sudan, right? There are only two generals because they want power over each other. They made the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people difficult. It's unfortunate part of it. But end of the day, Islam is going to prevail. Hopefully that people are going to realize and choose the right leader, because this is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can see that you promise to make his religion prevail all other religions. Though the politics may loathe it, right? You made him this promise after having raised him to the lofty station by giving him the best of families. And of course, this promise was given to him not only that, after Allah just raised him in a lofty position, and not only that position, but besides that, Allah gave him also families, right? The best of families. After having built for him and for them the first house of Allah built for all people, the one in Makkah, that means Makkah, which is blessed and is guide for human beings. In it are clear signs such as station of Abraham. Now, whoever enters it, he shall grant. So now Allah is talking about that Allah gave this Khana Kaaba as our Qibla, and we going there for Hajj and gathering. This is the house, which is so important, right? Because as Allah Ta'ala says, the first house built for people to worship. It's not for house people to live. First house built for people to worship was Khana Kaaba, right? Hudan lil Alameen. It's a guidance for Alameen, again you can see, universality. It is a guidance for the entire universe. وَفِيهِ آيَاتٌ بَيِّنَاتٌ مَقَامُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. In which there are special signs. Amongst them, for example, is Maqam Ibrahim. وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. The moment you are in the haram, you are safe, right? You are in safety. This is a special status given to Prophet and Muslims. You can see how important it is, right? And then we continue to discuss about the Prophet, and we'll stop here. And then, of course, in this dua we say, and you said, and now dua is quoting the verse of Quran directly. Up to now, you can see there were allusions. There were just references to Quranic verses. But now certain verses are so important that the dua, Imam Subhana has quoted actual verses of Quran. Up to now, when you talked about Adam, about Nuh, about Ibrahim, about Musa, right, about Isa, there was just references to Quranic verses. You have to try to go and find those verses and link. But now actual verses are important, so important. So when it comes to the family, Imam quoted that إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْسَ أَهْلِ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, right? That Allah just wishes to stay off from all kind of filth or people of the Prophet's household and to purify you thoroughly. So these are the prophets, these are the Ahlul Bayt, right, whom we actually love and we try to take them as leaders and imitate, right? ثُمَّ جَعَلْتَ أَزْلَ مُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ وَدَّتُهُمْ فِي كِتَابِكَ. And not only that, after telling us that these are the leaders who are purified, one more thing also, Quran is telling us, and Imam quotes that now the ajr, how we are going to pay off Rasulullah for all his efforts and the sacrifice which he and his family gave, what the qurba, that we try to have love, right? That kind of, we try to just have love, tell them to ask compulsion for my work except for devotion to my family. So this is mawad, actual devotion to family. And then of course, وَقُلْتَ, and again Imam quotes the third ayat, subhanAllah. مَا صَدُّكْ مِنْ أَجْرٍ فَهُوَ لَكُمْ, subhanAllah. Whatever compulsion I've asked from you is for your own benefit. Allah does not do it for you, it's for your own benefit, right? وَقُلْتَ, and again, next ayat, right? مَا أَسَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ أَجْرٍ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ أَنْ يَتَّخِذَ إِلَىٰ سَبِيلًا. And again, Imam quotes, tell them that I do not ask any compensation for my work except him who wishes to travel the path of his Lord's proximity. So if we want to just get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, it is through following the Ahlul Bayt. So do you see the importance of this dua, as we have been saying from first day of, that this dua, unfortunately, I know it's long dua, and people, because of that, they not participate, or they, for example, just leave others to do it. No, you don't need to recite the entire dua, Try to recite even the passage of dua every Friday. Even that will be enough. As we do it and try to understand what we're reciting, we realize that how important this dua is and what kind of aspects, what kind of concepts, Islamic concepts are being covered in this dua, which Imam himself has done it. So you can see when it comes to Ahlul Bayt and the love of Ahlul Bayt and being devoted to Ahlul Bayt and then following the path, Imam has quoted 4 passages of Quranic directly, right? Just to emphasize that one. And then you can see, فَكَانُوا هُمُ السَّبِيلَ إِلَيْكَ, subhanAllah. The Prophet's family is what? Is the path, right? To you. Sabil, it's a way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only that, and also the way to reach ridwan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do you see how important it is? And this is the passage you should discuss with your children, with your grandchildren, that make sure that we stay on the path of Islam and we try to follow the teachings and the command, teachings and the practice of Ahlul Bayt. Mu'min, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah give us tawfiq, that we can appreciate who the Ahlul Bayt are, what kind of sacrifice they give, their contribution, and how much we have there to benefit from their life examples. These are the great leaders. And really, we should always remember our parents and grandparents who showed us this path of Ahlul Bayt. We don't have many people, so any questions, any clarifications, just for the benefit, because we are recording these things, so inshallah, people can later on follow. Next week, inshallah, as we go to the 5th session, we'll discuss about Imam Ali and all the hadiths Prophet has quoted regarding Imam Ali's status, inshallah. Okay, then in case there is no questions, then inshallah we will end the session. Again, thank you very much for joining us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept